What's happening to me? Oh my God, my hair. It's gone. I'm bald. How? This can't be real. I woke up that morning and something just felt off. The air smelled wrong, bitter, almost metallic. My neck felt strangely light. I touched my skin, sat up slow, confused. Then I turned to the mirror by my dresser. And my heart just dropped. My name is Eleanor Hartley. And if you want to know how I ended up like this, sit down. Let me tell you everything. My hair, my long chestnut hair, waist length, the one I'd been growing carefully for years, was gone. Not trimmed. Uneven chunks hanging anyhow around my ears. Some almost reaching my shoulders, some jagged, cut close to my scalp. No, I whispered, jumping up. My legs were shaking as I moved closer to the mirror. I covered my mouth with my hand. On my dresser, right beside my jewelry box, sat the dull silver craft scissors from the kitchen drawer. The ones my mother used for coupons and old receipts. And next to them, a sticky note, slapped down like an insult in my mother's handwriting. You'll still look fine. Focus on your speech for Victoria's big day. I just stood there, frozen. My pillow still had strands of my hair on it. Dozens of them, curled like something thrown away. I felt sick to my stomach. That wedding, Victoria's wedding, was supposed to be my moment. The one time I'd finally be seen. I'd picked my navy silk dress myself, paid for it with my own money, planned every single word of my speech. It was never about stealing the spotlight. It was about being respected, about being enough for once. I walked into the kitchen, every step heavy like I was carrying something. My father sat there eating his cereal like nothing happened, like a man who'd never once been asked to explain himself, which honestly tracked. He looked up for 1 second and just said, "Oh good. You're up." Didn't even blink at my hair. Then he added, "Less hair makes your face less distracting anyway. The attention's not supposed to be on you." My mother didn't even flinch. She sipped her coffee, scrolled her phone and said casually, "It's Victoria's wedding, Eleanor. Let her shine." And blink. They said it like I was trying to steal the sun just by existing. Just by showing up in a dress that fit me well. Just by daring to speak with a clear voice. Let her shine. They'd been singing that song since we were children. Victoria got violin lessons and spa days. Me hand-me-downs and lectures about gratitude. Victoria got a graduation trip to Paris. Me, I was told to go work weekends if I wanted college money. And I did it. I moved out at 19, worked 2 jobs, and I still said yes to her wedding invite. I wanted to believe, just once, we could be a family without anybody playing favorites. But they couldn't even trust me enough to just show up as myself. They gave me tea the night before. "Chamomile to help you sleep," my mother said, and used that time to butcher my hair while I was knocked out. I remembered how groggy I felt, like I was underwater. Now I understood why. My hands were shaking as I picked up my phone. I didn't know who to call, but there was one person I trusted with my whole life. "Beatrice," I said the moment she picked up. My voice cracked. "Can you come over? Please." Beatrice lived 15 minutes away. She came in 10, which, for a woman who once took 40 minutes to Parallel Park, was basically a land speed record. The moment she stepped in and saw me, she gasped. "They did this to you on purpose." I nodded, my eyes burning. She didn't speak for a second. Then she exhaled hard and said, "Okay, we're not going to that wedding like this. We're doing something better." First I thought she meant a salon, a makeover, something to hide the damage. But Beatrice had something else in her mind entirely. See, I had a habit. I used to record little voice notes on my phone, things to tell my therapist later, small things, comments I didn't know what to do with. Beatrice asked if I could hear them. We sat on my floor, my hacked hair still sitting in the bin, and we listened. My mother's voice. "She thinks she'll look better than Victoria in that dress. We'll fix that." My father's laugh. "Girls like her need reminders. We'll cut it while she's out." Beatrice's eyes narrowed. "Eleanor, this is not just sabotage. This is control, and I think it's time people heard it." I stared at my phone. I never thought I'd share those recordings. They were private, just for my sessions. But hearing them again with Beatrice beside me, they hit different, powerful, honest proof of what really happened. You really think people will listen? Yes, Beatrice nodded firm. They'll listen because it's real. And because you're not the only one. That night I didn't sleep at all. Beatrice helped me trim the uneven strands into a sleek, sharp bob. It framed my face like armor. You look like someone about to ruin a fake fairy tale, she whispered. I looked in the mirror. My eyes weren't soft anymore. They were steady. In the morning, I put on a black blazer over a deep green dress. Not the silk one they mocked, but something new, something bold. We got to the vineyard early. The sun was just rising, gold spilling over the hills. The venue was extravagant, white chairs in neat rows, flower arches, cameras everywhere. Victoria's dream day. I stood quietly near the brunch buffet, watching guests arrive, laughing, taking pictures. I had rehearsed the speech they wrote for me, but that script was gone now. All I held was my phone and my truth. When they offered me the mic for toasts, I stepped forward. My mother's smile froze. Victoria waved from her seat, beaming. Then I started talking. Hi everyone. I know I'm not the favorite daughter. That's never been a secret. But today I want to talk about something else. The room went quiet. Forks stopped midair. People looked up. Kept going, my voice clear. I want to talk about what happens behind the family portraits. When the people who say they love you drug your tea so they can cut your hair while you're sleeping. When you're told you're too pretty to stand next to your sister. When you're not just ignored but managed. Murmurs ran through the crowd. My mother stood up. Eleanor, stop this. My father followed, face red. You're embarrassing yourself. But I didn't stop. No, I said. You don't get to silence me anymore. Not after what you did. I pulled out my phone and played the recording. My mother's cold voice filled the air. My father's laughter echoed through the speakers. A gasp rippled through the whole crowd. Victoria looked like she couldn't breathe. One uncle dropped his mimosa, a small, glassy tragedy that somehow felt like the whole family's mood in liquid form. My voice came last on that recording. You taught me shame. Now I'm teaching you consequences. That's when security showed up. My mother was screaming. My father was demanding they cut the mic. Victoria was crying. Not for me, but for her ruined spotlight. But me, I walked out without a single tear. I had said what I came to say. By that night, the video Beatrice posted had gone viral. Caption: This is what happens when you weaponize family. Over 2 million views by sunrise. The comments kept pouring in. Thank you for saying what I never could. You're a hero. You didn't just crash the wedding, you freed yourself. Celebrities reposted it. Influencers lip-synced my own speech. My voice became a movement. Proof, honestly, of how fast the internet can turn a whispered family secret into a global classroom on boundaries. A week later, an editor from a bridal magazine emailed me. Your story isn't just powerful, it's important. Would you do a feature? Photo shoot. We'd like to title it, The Uninvited Sister Who Stole the Show. I smiled and replied, gladly. I posed in gowns that shimmered louder than my shame ever could. My new bob framed a face that was no longer hiding. It was the photo shoot my parents never would have allowed. And now they couldn't stop it. 3 months passed. My family never called. No apology. No explanation. But I didn't care anymore. The world had already decided. I became the face of something bigger. Of daughters silenced for too long. Talk shows debated my speech. Articles dissected my parents' actions. Then came Margaret Whitmore, a fashion CEO whose own daughter had been treated the exact same way. We're building a campaign called You Can't Cut Power, Margaret told me. And we want you to lead it. I was stunned. You mean me? As a model? She smiled. Model, voice, and creative director. You turn pain into power. That's exactly what we need. The campaign blew up. Photo shoots, panel talks, interviews. My story became a symbol. Meanwhile, back in my hometown, my parents had become pariahs. Neighbors avoided them. The priest who married Victoria even called me a cautionary tale from the pulpit, a plot twist even I didn't see coming, sermon material apparently. And Victoria's new husband, he left 6 weeks in. He found a notebook full of fake Instagram accounts Victoria herself used to post cruel comments about me. Anonymous bullying from a bride obsessed with her own sister's silence. That was the final straw. He packed his bags and left. I didn't even smile when I heard. Felt nothing. I'm done carrying their consequences, I told Beatrice. Then Margaret called me again. We're opening a new creative office, she said. And we want it in your hometown. Would you like to run it? I blinked. You're serious? Imagine, she said. Same street they dragged you down for piano recitals. But this time your name is on the door. I laughed softly. Let's do it. The building turned out sleek. Glass walls, soft lighting, energy buzzing everywhere. On the front window in bold letters. Power cannot be cut. Local press covered the launch. Survivors came through the doors. Old classmates who used to whisper about me now asked me for internships. And then during the open house my parents walked in. Uninvited. Quiet. My mother wore sunglasses. My father looked older, tired. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe shame. But when they saw me standing tall at the podium in a tailored white suit, they didn't even recognize me. We're proud of you, my mother said weakly and smiled. That's funny. You haven't been proud of me since I had braces. My father chuckled awkwardly. Families make mistakes. We heal, right? I turned toward the front desk. Would you like to leave a comment card? We take feedback seriously here. They blinked. I continued. If not, I have a full room of people I actually respect waiting to hear me speak. They just stood there, unsure, like statues in a world that had moved on without them. I didn't need to scream. I didn't need revenge. The building, the brand, the success, those spoke louder than anything I could ever say. As they turned to leave, I called out one last time. By the way, I said, my voice calm, next time you try to cut a daughter to make another one shine, just remember, scissors dull but some girls sharpen. I paused. Then they walked out into the street. They never came back. And me. I never needed them to. I had built something stronger than their silence, a life they could never touch. My beauty, my power, my voice. None of it came from their approval. I found it all within myself. And now nobody could ever take it from me. Not with words, not with shame, not even with scissors. From that day I never looked back. I had stories to tell, voices to lift up, and girls to remind. Your worth is not negotiable, and your light, it's not up for trimming ever again.